Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this episode of Nerd Caliber. I'm here with Be the Spark Cosplay as Cinderella. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. And this looks fantastic. Um,
Oh, thank you.
Before we get into the specifics of how you constructed this cosplay, there's a wonderful story behind it. Would you be willing to share?
Yeah, of course. So the idea of Cinderella with a glass arm instead of a glass slipper kind of came about when me and my daughter were reading Cinderella stories together through her school. And there was just all these really neat adaptations from around the world. And it was so cool how every culture kind of made this fairy tale their own. But I realized that there were still no princesses who looked like me, who had some kind of a physical difference or a disability. And, that's a character that would have been really meaningful to me when I was a kid, because I didn't see anybody in the media who, had a limb difference. And so I thought, how cool would that be to have a princess who had a limb difference, just like I did. And I started to think about what that would look like. And I just had this idea that Cinderella could trade out her glass slippers for a glass arm. And I just knew I had to make that come to life.
Oh, wow. And this won a costume contest at San Diego, right?
I did, yes. Yeah, San Diego Comic Con. Even though the con was canceled, they still did the virtual masquerade contest this year. And so I won Judge's Choice there, which was very, very exciting. That was a huge honor for me.
Awesome. So, how did you construct this cosplay?
Well, I sew. I've been sewing for about 10 years. And so I got into cosplay about 7 years ago. And I really enjoy making ball gowns. So, I made the corset. It has 4 layers of satin and, the lining and all the stuff inside to, make it a strong corset. And then the skirt has 3 different layers. There's the underskirt that's a full skirt of lace and satin, and then another skirt that's satin on top of that, and then another one on top of that that's kind of the sequined lace. And the glass arm, I did not make this. There's kind of a cool story behind that too. So I knew I could sew, but I had no idea how I was going to make this. But, this was really the integral part of the story, so it had to be perfect. And so I was kind of asking around some of my friends who were into cosplay if they had any ideas how this would even be possible. And actually one of my friends locally that went to church with me, he says, hey, I know this guy. I went to high school with him. He might be interested in helping. He's an artist. He's done a lot of stuff for theme parks. And I thought, well, that would be awesome. So we got in touch, and Gilbert Lozano is the artist name. And he was amazing. He was so excited to jump on board and to create this. And I mean, it's absolutely amazing. He did a stunning job. And I think this piece is what just kind of brings it together and just really brings the fairy tale to life.
Oh, wow. What would you say is the most difficult part of your costume in making it?
Probably definitely the corset. There's just so many layers to go through, and for me everything had to be perfect because it had to look like a fairy godmother had made this. It wasn't just any normal person. So I made sure all the stitches were absolutely perfect. There's a lot of rhinestones and beadwork on the front and the trim. There was just a lot of work put into that to make it very special.
I love your wig. How did you put that together?
Well, I'm not a hairstylist. I don't do hair. So I bought this wig on Etsy from On the Wall Wigs, and she did a fantastic job. I love everything that she did with it.
Oh, wow, wow. So for the glass arm itself, when the other person, sorry, I forget the name of the person you mentioned that made the arm. How did they construct it so that the length of it was correct, that it fit properly? Was there any problems of that sort?
Yeah, so we actually decided we took one of my old prosthetic arms that I'd already had made, and he made a mold out of that. And then he actually got in touch with Simrock Landscaping, where he lived in Tucson, and they let him use their industrial vacuum chamber to pour the resin in so that it would be perfectly clear and it wouldn't have all the bubbles from the resin. And so, yeah, it kind of took a team of people to put this together. And then my prosthetist, who makes my prosthetic arms, actually helped us to attach the socket piece so that it's actually a functional prosthetic. So everybody kind of pitched in and made this come to life.
Oh, wow. If you had to start this all over again, what would you do differently?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know. It kind of was like one of those projects that I felt like I had a fairy godmother helping me out. It all just kind of worked out perfectly. Yeah, I don't know if I'd do anything different. I'm really happy with how it came out.
Okay. Do you have to do anything special with makeup or anything like that?
There's not too much special with makeup. Just, you have a face full of makeup to make it look like you don't have too much makeup on because Cinderella is supposed to have that naturally flawless beauty. Yeah, so that's about it with that.
Okay. So what is it about the story of Cinderella that feels timeless?
Mhm. Well, see, she was always one of my favorite princesses. I think for me, she just represents, kindness and strength and hope and optimism. And, even though, things were kind of hard in her life and definitely things were not going her way at all, she still treated everyone that she came across with kindness, and she still had big dreams and she still had hopes for the future. And I think that's something that, a lot of us can relate to, and we could definitely learn from her example, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay. So for anyone that wants to see this and they want to become inspired to create their own Cinderella cosplay, what advice would you give them?
I would say just be creative. I think a lot of times when we think of cosplay, we think of, trying to look like a character that we see on screen exactly. And that's a lot of fun as well, but I think sometimes it's fun to say what do we love about this character, and how can I kind of make that character my own? Like, what would I look like in that character's shoes? And I think when we do that, when we kind of make the cosplay fit us, that's when we can come up with some really creative ideas and just make these costumes our own.
There are a lot of cosplayers out there, especially beginning cosplayers, that become very discouraged because either because race, gender, disability, like they feel like there's these walls that other people put up that they don't feel, I would say, encouraged to cosplay. If you can talk to them now, what would you say?
Yeah, I think that we definitely face a lot of those walls. I know as a cosplayer with a disability, when I first started out, I felt kind of this pressure that to wear my prosthetic arms that looked as realistic as possible. I felt like I was almost like trying to hide the fact that I had a disability, and just play characters and kind of hide that. But I found so much freedom in just making the characters my own. I started to play some characters who were already amputees. I did Furiosa from Mad Max, who, that's a strong woman. And I also did one of my favorite characters from the Star Wars Legends book series that I read as a kid. There was a Jedi princess who lost her arm, Sanel Ka. And so she always was really meaningful to me, that she had a limb difference, but she was still definitely a warrior. And when I started to play those characters that I really identified with, that was just so empowering. And, then now I did Cinderella, and I'm working on a steampunk version of Belle from Beauty and the Beast, who has another cool prosthetic. And so I would say, just don't worry about what people think. Just make the characters that you love your own and go for it, and do it because you love it, not because of what you're worried about, whether other people like it or not.
If anyone wants to follow you on social media, where can they go?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Be the Spark Cosplay. Just one word, Be the Spark Cosplay. And I'd love for you guys to follow along on my journey.
Excellent. And again, thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing your cosplay. And to our viewers out there, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more cosplay content. Have a great and safe day.